I'm J.R. Church. Welcome to today's analysis of the news. I have an article from the London Telegraph which says that Barack Obama has been warned by intelligence officials that terrorists will attack U.S. targets or a friendly state such as Britain or Israel to test his mettle if elected. Now, the briefings, according to this article, given to the Obama campaign about possible attacks were based on specific intelligence picked up monitoring terrorist networks and informers, according to a senior military source aware of the contents of the reports. Indeed, when Mr. Obama's running mate, Joe Biden, raised the prospect of such an attack during what he believed was a private fundraising dinner, he is thought to have let slip the conclusions of those highly classified briefings. And it goes on to say Fred Burton, a former senior U.S. counterintelligence agency, separately told the Sunday Telegraph that Britain could be targeted by Al-Qaeda if the organization was unable to mount an attack on U.S. soil early in the new administration, as soon as they did soon after the election of George W. Bush in 2001 and Bill Clinton in 1993. According to this, terror attacks were staged in America during the first year of the last two presidents. In 1993, a truck bomb was exploded at New York's World Trade Center a month after Bill Clinton took office, while the atrocities of September 11, 2001 were committed in the year George W. Bush took office. So, things look a little bit scary. This is according to intelligence sources who have been monitoring terrorist networks on the internet and also informants. Now, Gary Stearman is with me today. And Gary, we have some more news from Israel.
We do, and all is not well in Israel. According to Watch.org, there's going to be a meeting next week in Cairo, Egypt, and the meeting is going to be what's called a rare joint briefing on the state of peace talks at a Mideast summit. Ehud Barak, back home in Israel, is accusing settlers of trying to fracture the state's authority as the settlers go up against a new Palestinian state. And Ehud Olmert, at the same time, JR, is beginning to negotiate or continuing his negotiations with the Syrians. And, of course, he's been in favor of giving back the Golan Heights to Syria for a good long time. There is opposition on the home front. We have this from Israel Today, which is an Israeli website. Egypt will attack Israel, warns lawmaker and former Minister of Strategic Affairs Avigdor Lieberman. That last Saturday, he warned that Egypt is just waiting for an opportunity to move its army back into the Sinai Peninsula and threaten Israel militarily. As you can see, there's a lot of ferment in Israel today. There are opposing factions. JR, the fuse is lit.
Mainly because Daniel chapter 9, verse 27 says that a peace accord is going to be confirmed, and this week's meeting in Egypt is an excellent time to confirm some kind of a peace accord. You got to understand that our president says he wants a Palestinian state by January. And so they're pushing hard in order for Israel to make some kind of a peace accord with the Palestinians and establish a Palestinian state. So that makes that particular article most interesting in light of Daniel 9:27. And here is an article from IsraelToday.com. Actually, it's an Israeli website. The title is Time for Israel to Appoint a King. Scholar says. Renowned Israeli biblical scholar and historian David Solomon, what a name.
Yeah.
Last week said that conditions in Israel today are ripe for replacing democracy with theocratic monarchy and appointing a king. Speaking to Israel National Radio, Solomon said that the leadership and religious crisis currently facing Israel mirror those during the time of the prophet Samuel. So, Just as then, many Israelis today might view a theocratic monarchy as a viable answer to Israel's, quote, disastrous absence of genuine political
Wow.
and spiritual and religious leadership, end of quote, said David Solomon.
And speaking of disaster, you know, the last time this happened is in 1 Samuel chapter 8, when Samuel the prophet was growing old. The people came to him, and said, "Make us a king to judge us like all the nations. We want to be just like everybody else." So the thing displeased Samuel when they said, "Give us a king to judge us." And Samuel prayed to the Lord. Well, the Lord's answer, J.R., was, "They have forsaken me and served other gods." And he did give them a king. That king turned out to be the evil King Saul. J.R., the leaders of Israel must know this story.
Yes, and David came to replace King Saul. Well, Jesus is coming to replace the Antichrist. Do you suppose Israel might choose a Messiah figure for a king?
If they're asking for a king already,
Wow.
it's likely that they're in the right frame of mind.
Well, you know, the rabbis have said that he showed up in northern Galilee area back in 2006. It was in September of 2006. They claim the Messiah began to make himself known.
Wow.
Well, we've got some emails. This one from Australia. Hi, I would like to say thank you to J.R. Church for his daily news updates. I watch them each morning. I also download and burn on DVD the video podcasts. I watch them on my DVD player at night when the rest of the family is watching other things. I share them with my friends, some of which are in Malaysia and the Philippines. I value being able to download the video pods from iTunes. So I just want to say a big thank you. My knowledge in prophecy has increased because of these broadcasts. God bless you all. Max from Coolum Beach, Queensland, Australia. Great, isn't it?
It's J.R., it's very gratifying to hear from our friends, and it's encouraging, too. May the Lord bless you all.
This is J.R. Church. Tune in again tomorrow for our update and analysis of the news.